I have spent a full week with the Apple Vision Pro, and even though I absolutely love it, I will be returning it. I'm going to tell you guys why in a second, but first let's take a closer look at what this thing can do. We have got to appreciate the design and build of the Apple Vision Pro. This thing is an extremely premium device, which it should be for starting at $3,500. Right here we have this laminated glass that sits inside the aluminum alloy frame with a bunch of cameras and sensors underneath that detect your hand movements and allow us to see our environment. On the sides here we have these audio pods that deliver spatial audio, and if you're not familiar with spatial audio, it sounds like you can hear the sounds coming from all different directions around you. That makes it seem a lot more realistic. When it comes to the headbands, this right here is the Solo Knit band, which is my personal favorite. I think it looks better and it doesn't mess up my hair quite as much. The other band Apple calls the Dual Loop band, and it has a strap on the back as well as on the top that goes over your head, and it is a bit more snug and comfy, and I like to use that one when I'm wearing the Vision Pro for longer periods of time. I have to say, one thing I absolutely love in this Solo Knit band though is this dial, because I have no idea how Apple designed it to work so well. I know it's probably not something I should be so impressed by, but it just tightens and loosens so well that I had to point it out. The other Dual Loop band, on the other hand, just uses a physical straps that velcro together, and to actually interchange the bands, we just pull on these orange tabs, and they just pop right off like this. And then to put the other one back on, you just clip it right back onto these magnetic slots. On the inside here, we do have a pair of micro OLED displays that has more pixels than a 4K TV in each one, which allows it to have extremely good clarity when looking at different applications or whatever else you may be doing. This right here is actually called the Light Seal, and it magnetically attaches to the aluminum frame, and then the cushion right here actually detaches from the Light Seal, and we can insert a thicker one included in the packaging. The thicker cushion does feel quite a bit more comfortable, but I found that it lets in just a tiny bit of light, which isn't bad, but the other cushion is a much better seal. In the box, of course, the Apple Vision Pro does come with the lens cover that goes over the laminated glass so that it doesn't get scratched or damaged. And the outside of the cover is almost like this firm shell that's only slightly bendable, and then the inside is of course super soft to protect the glass. Of course, the Apple Vision Pro does come with this battery pack that gives us a 2-hour charge, which I really wish was longer, and this battery pack is permanently attached to this cable, and at the end of this cable we have this little mechanism that just twists into the side of the Vision Pro to power it on. Once the battery does run out, thankfully Apple did include a 30-watt wall adapter with an included USB-C to USB-C cable that we can plug into the back of the battery here so that we don't have to worry about the battery life running out. The last thing included in the packaging here is this cool polishing cloth to clean the front glass, which you will be using a ton because it attracts fingerprints like crazy. But let's go ahead and talk about the comfortability of this thing, because this is something that I wish was a little better. I do think Apple did the best they possibly could with different headbands and cushions, but because the Apple Vision Pro is so heavy, it puts a lot of pressure on my upper nose, and it kind of feels like I'm carrying around a small 22-ounce dumbbell on my head. Now, I wouldn't say that it's actually uncomfortable because it fits so well, and Apple did do an incredible job at designing it, but if it was lighter, it would make a huge difference, especially when wearing it for longer periods of time. And that is, of course, why Apple decided to keep the battery pack separate so that it wouldn't add any weight to the headset. I have also found myself getting slightly headachy and disoriented, especially when immersing myself fully in the different environments, but I still can wear this for multiple hours at a time without feeling too bad depending on what I'm doing. I think the pass-through is still good enough so that I can see my surroundings, but it still is blurry, which throws my eyes off a bit. Now, something that I actually didn't think about when initially buying this is how it performs in low lighting. It makes sense that the cameras and sensors perform the best when your environment is bright, which means that you can't really use the Vision Pro very well when you're in a dark area. The different times I've tried to use my Apple Vision Pro in darker environments, the tracking really doesn't work well at all, and it's just not even worth using. And I know at this point you're probably wondering, so what all can I do with the Apple Vision Pro? Well, you can do a ton of things, but all of these things don't actually allow you to be more productive, which is the reason I'm returning my Apple Vision Pro. Don't get me wrong, this is a truly remarkable device that is destroying all of the other VR headsets right now, and it is an absolute blast to use, but it's not going to improve your workflow and allow you to do anything better than you already can without it, besides the entertainment aspect of being able to watch YouTube videos and movies on a huge screen. Showing you guys a clear example of what I mean, I have a couple tabs open right here that look like my normal workflow. This tab in the middle here, which is a video I am currently editing, is actually being projected from my MacBook, and then I have my emails pulled up to the right here, and then Notion pulled up to the left. We can actually use the keyboard and trackpad on my Mac while it's connected to the Vision Pro, which I have found allows me to work a lot better than just selecting things with my hands. And thankfully, we can also connect a Bluetooth keyboard to the Vision Pro when you're not actually using the Mac Virtual Display session that types way better than the virtual one. Now, being able to look at things with your eyes and select things with your hands is where you think you could actually be more productive with the Apple Vision Pro, and that's what I initially thought when I bought it. But the problem is that even though the eye tracking is very impressive, it is still far from being perfect at selecting very small things that a mouse could easily select 100% of the time. For example, selecting this checkbox in my Notion to-do list on the left here is very difficult, and selecting different areas to type is very tough as well. Unfortunately, we cannot connect any Bluetooth mice to the Apple Vision Pro, which is a huge minus in my opinion, but at least we can use the Apple trackpad, which is better than nothing. So I can definitely use the Apple Vision Pro for working, and it is cool being able to see things on a massive screen right in front of me, but it doesn't really help me get things done any quicker than just using my MacBook as I normally would. That being said, there are a bunch of other things we can do with this, like watching movies with Apple TV or Disney Plus, and you can even watch 3D movies, which I have enjoyed a ton. It's really cool because you can even watch a movie in an environment of your choice. So if you want to watch a movie on top of the Avengers Tower, you can do that. Another thing you can do is listen to music, which sounds incredible, but unfortunately there is not a Spotify app right now, so you will have to settle with Apple Music. The audio pods on the sides delivering spatial audio do sound incredible and realistic, and I am super happy with them. Now keep in mind that other people can hear the audio coming from the Vision Pro, especially at top volumes, but it did surprise me that when I had friends and family try on my Apple Vision Pro and they were listening to music or a YouTube video, it didn't sound near as loud as I thought it would. Thankfully though, we can connect any wireless earbuds to the Vision Pro, so you don't have to worry about other people near you hearing the audio. In terms of apps, there are already over 1 million apps on the App Store that you can use with the Apple Vision Pro, so I am sure there are a ton of cool apps that I haven't tried out yet. I did find out that there aren't any social media apps, which is kind of a bummer, so you will have to access those through Safari, which does work okay, but it's definitely not great, and I do really wish we could have Final Cut Pro or Photoshop directly on the Vision Pro. Now thankfully we can connect an Xbox or PlayStation controller to play different games. I personally haven't tried this out a whole lot, but I did try it out just a little bit, and it was a blast being able to play on a huge screen. Of course, we are limited to only being able to play games that are on the App Store, but it still is a lot of fun. Now, after trying out FaceTime multiple times, I really enjoy being able to just scan there and scale up the size of whoever I'm talking to, and personas are very strange but kind of cool at the same time. If you don't already know, personas are Apple's way of, I guess, replacing you in FaceTime when you have the Apple Vision Pro on, so that you don't really need another device recording you. In order to create my persona, the Apple Vision Pro just took me through a few steps that only took about a minute and was super easy. The persona feature is still in beta, which makes sense because it's honestly just a little strange, but I do think Apple was extremely smart to create this feature so that we can still make use of FaceTime with the Apple Vision Pro. Let's go ahead and take a look at the internals though, because this is where Apple packed in a bunch of fancy tech. I don't want to get too complex in this video, but Apple did include the M2 chip and the brand new R1 chip, which allows us to process input from the cameras, sensors, and microphones so that we can get a more realistic world view with no lags in the Vision Pro. There is also a pair of fans to keep all of the electronics cool, and I am happy to say that I have not been able to hear the fans while using it. Something I have come to realize about the Apple Vision Pro though, is that it is kind of a lonely experience. There's been multiple times where I actually kind of forget that other people in the room around me can't see what I'm seeing when I'm wearing it. This means that whatever you're doing in the Apple Vision Pro, you can't experience with anybody else, which definitely feels odd at times. It's like when I put the Apple Vision Pro on, I'm just living in my own world, which is nice sometimes, but I do wish there was a way for others to experience the same things that I am when I'm wearing the Vision Pro. There is a guest mode that allows your friends and family members to try it out, and you can set different restrictions on certain apps that you don't want to have accessed, but the guest mode could definitely be better. Every single time a new person tries on the Vision Pro, it takes them through a quick setup process to track their eyes and hand movements, and unfortunately, right when that person takes the Vision Pro off, I have to turn the guest mode back on, and then they will have to go through the same setup process all over again if they want to use it again. It would be great if Apple could figure out a way to save your guests in the Vision Pro so that they wouldn't always need to have that guest mode turned on, and they wouldn't have to go through that setup process over and over. Something that is fun to mess around with is the spatial photos and videos. You can take these with the Vision Pro by pressing the top button right here, or you can actually take them with your iPhone, which will give you much better quality. I think it's actually pretty cool how we can take photos and videos with the Apple Vision Pro, but the pictures look like 6.5 megapixels from a tiny sensor, which is really not that good at all, so I'd rather just use my iPhone instead. I do want to mention that the only other button on the Vision Pro is the digital crown, which I do absolutely love because it feels so premium. If you press it down on it, it will pop up the application menu, and you can actually turn the dial to adjust the volume levels and adjust how immersed you are in an environment. In case you're curious about the storage and pricing, the Apple Vision Pro does come in 3 different storage options, including 256 gigabytes at $3,500, 512 gigabytes at $3,700, and 1 terabyte at $3,900. I think most people will be totally fine with only 256 gigabytes for now, but as more apps and softwares do come to the Apple Vision Pro in the next couple of years, it will be important to have more storage, especially if you plan on using the Vision Pro for work, which I wouldn't recommend doing it quite yet. So overall, what do I think about the Apple Vision Pro? Well, I'm returning it because it doesn't actually add any real value to my daily life. Sure, it's super cool and fun to use, but it definitely isn't going to replace my MacBook, as it's not going to help me be more efficient with really anything. Right now I see the Apple Vision Pro as kind of an expensive toy that some people with a lot of money don't mind splurging on, but I was really hoping that it would add some productivity to my life for a price tag this high. Of course, I am very impressed with this thing and I have had a ton of fun with it, but that's just my opinion for now. If you guys do have any thoughts or questions about the Apple Vision Pro, definitely comment them down below and I will try my best to get back to you. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Gino, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely subscribe for more because I have a lot planned for you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace!